Hi everyone, this is Dr. C. I hope you're doing well. I'm here today with a video prompt for the activity that I want you to do for week 7. As I explained last week in that class-wide announcement, we in face-to-face classes, face-to-face sections of Writing 123, we have usually have right around this time a library workshop that's scheduled with a reference librarian. Typically it's Bronwyn Maxon. Who's an awesome reference librarian that tends to work with Writing 123 students pretty often. She often will come into the class and lead a library workshop that's meant to introduce students to the library, to the resources available to them there, so that they can conduct proper scholarly research, the kind of research that you tend to have to conduct for your college and university level courses. So given that this is an online course, as I explained, we can't have that typical meeting, right? So what I've done is what I'm going to do is walk you through a couple of activities that should help us sort of replicate that experience that you would have should we have that reference librarian come in to the classroom for that workshop. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so you can take a look at the I'm going to go to the course webpage, and in particular the library research help link that you see when you sign into our Canvas homepage. Okay, so hang on one second. All right, so what you're seeing is what you would see if you go to our course homepage and click on this link here, the library research help link. This is the page that would appear. As you can see, it's pretty detailed. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, although I strongly suggest that you spend a lot of time getting as familiar as possible with what you see in this resource. It's kind of laid out pretty well for you, I think. You click on this, I'll do it for you so you can see. Click here, and it sort of just moves you steadily down this. Moves you steadily down this panel here. So you can just read that panel, go through it. It's pretty handy. Talks about the ways in which research features into this class. This research as a process infographic is especially handy for students, and we often use it when Bronwyn Maxon comes to do that library workshop to help people conceptualize the research process. I think that if you look through this, you'll find that you are kind of right around here, right? Right now, you're in the zone of finding, you found some background information for your proposal that you just had to submit. And right now, you're sort of in the finding material zone as you're doing research leading up to the annotated bibliography, right? So that's kind of where you are right now. Like I said, you can kind of page down and see some broader sort of general conversations and panels that talk about the course and where you are at this stage in the term in this class. We've already talked about what makes for discourse community. We've already started, through the first essay cycle that you did. We've already talked about that and talked about the scholarly conversations that pertain to the subject matter of this course. We've talked about that a little bit. So you'll see that this is, some of this stuff is review of material that we've covered in previous weeks. And some of it's more practical matters, like how to sign into the U of O network from off campus, for instance. If you don't know how to do that, you really do need to know how to do that if you're doing a lot of library research, because there are resources available to you through the U of O library, including access to databases that unless you know how to sign in to the U of O network from off campus, if you just try to use your browser to get into those resources, you kind of be blocked from getting into those resources. So again, some of the stuff that you'll see if you page down this long panel here will be stuff that is refresher from things that we've covered earlier in the term. And some of it will be stuff that's pretty useful to help you through accessing the library, things like accessing the library to be able to conduct research in the first place, which obviously you're going to have to do a lot of now that we're headed down the second essay cycle and headed toward the annotated bibliography. So That's what this is. And like I said, you can page through the panel by clicking on these links here, right? You also see these links down here. If you clicked on this and this, you would, I think, note that we have, through the first 6 weeks of the term, moved through these issues, finding your question or your question at issue, and finding background information on your particular topic, or to help you start addressing or answering your question at issue. We've already moved through that process, through the formation of that formal proposal that you submitted. It's here that we're kind of located right now in the fine material stage of the research process. Again, I'll page down to this infographic so you can see how the research process is kind of conceptualized. This is the easiest way to sort of visually conceptualize the research process. And as you can see, it's an iterative process, so it sometimes goes this way and then goes back, and sometimes goes forward and goes back, until finally you go forward and you're able to draft your argument on the page, right? You're able to actually craft your argument, you know how to make your argument, how to support your argument, etc., and you start drafting it. But before all that stuff happens, normally speaking, in a scholarly research project, you start off with your question, you find background information, find more materials. All that helps you start answering your question, or maybe shaping your thesis statement, honing it down, making it more specific, really informing your opinions so that you can eventually deliver that opinion and support it using the research that you found in that whole research process, right? So this sort of maps you through that. Using this, I think, is a great way to sort of remind yourself of where you are in your research process. Right now, you're at the find material stage, right? Find materials right here. This website, this resource, breaks down the find material stage, I think, into sort of really great blocks here. What I would do if I were you is to click on this link, and on this link, and on this link, which is specific to the theme of our course, which is the culture of science. Those are the three I think you should click on and review as soon as you can. That should get you started thinking about how to conduct research for your own particular project, how to conduct further research, because of course you've already done at least some research, right? Already talked about that, but how to conduct, deeper, more substantial research for your project, the kind of research you're going to include in your annotated bibliography, for instance. I think moving through the process I've just described should help you get started with that. Another thing that you ought to do, and this is really important, let's see. Okay, not there. Hang on one second, I'm just looking for a link. I've just forgotten where it is. Oh. Where's that link? Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry about that. This link here, Getting Started with Research and Overview of the Process by Bronwyn Maxon. So this will also help. And you can see it starts off with this infographic that I've returned to a couple of times in this video prompt. This is meant to sort of help replicate that experience of having Bronwyn Maxon in the classroom with us. So this is the other resource that I think you should review pretty closely this week. And as you can see, it includes some of the stuff from the page that you saw a little while ago, a couple of other things that weren't on that page that you saw just a little while ago, that main library research help page that I clicked on this link, it opened up a new window from this page, right? Went from here to here by clicking this link. Okay. Yeah, this is set up to help you move from the process of formulating your research question to picking your topic, to using research to help you hone your topic. It's also meant to help you with using databases and running searches on databases. Students often find that it's harder than they think to conduct searches in databases. all of us are skilled in some way, shape, or form because of our use of search engines like Google. We're all pretty skilled to a certain level with running searches, but databases can be a little bit of a different beast than simply running searches in Google. So you'll find some guidance here with helping you run searches in databases. You will find guidance to help you move through the research process from finding background information, more information on databases, so basically this part of the library research help page, when you click on that link for Bronwyn Maxon's specific guide, really does walk you through how to move through the research process in a pretty detailed way. So I think going through this link as much as you can and moving through it and being honest with yourself about where you are in this process and maybe focusing on what this link has to say about research at that particular point that you are in this process, using its advice and maybe going back through it. And if you have, if you've generated a topic, but you're not really sure if it comes from a great question, you can kind of reverse engineer your project a little bit too. Lots of ways of using this resource. What I think the first thing you ought to do, like I said before, is actually go through this library research help resource by going through this panel, right? And then move through these links here. The first two, as I said before, if you review them, you'll see that they pretty much cover stuff that we've already covered in the first 2 weeks of this term, the refresher. Again, it's the find materials link that's really important here. I want you to go through these links here, find scholarly articles, find books, jump down, go through this culture of science link that's more specific to the theme of our course, obviously. And then eventually get down here and click on this getting started with research link, which will take you to this resource that I've been walking you through. That's pretty extensive and pretty well laid out to help you start figuring out how to navigate some of the sometimes complex and confusing resources that you have available to you through the university library. So I think that's the best way to sort of approach research this week, and using this library research help link / resource that's available to us on our Canvas homepage. I'm page down just a little bit more here. As you can see, this walks you through how to use the library in so many different ways. It's a great resource. So go ahead and review. I'm going to go and close this window now. Go back to this main library research help page. So what I want you to do is do the things I've just described, walk through this part of the site in the ways I just described, and make sure that you review Bronwyn Maxon's contribution at the very bottom here, right? Make sure that you do that. And then I want you to go to our, click off of the share screen for a second so I can talk to you a little bit more directly. Okay, and then after you have dug through that library research help resource, what I want you to do is I want you to sit down and just put together a couple of paragraphs. In the first paragraph, I want you to, once again, express what your topic is. Just spend a couple of sentences of that paragraph talking about what your topic is, as well as some detail in the argument that you think you might be able to make about this topic. You might just, if you would like, express your question and issue as it exists right now in that part of the paragraph. And then I want you to, after identifying your topic, just talk about some of the research you've already done into this topic. It could be just a couple of sentences in which you generally let me know about what kind of research you've already done for your topic. In the next paragraph, in the second paragraph, all I want you to do is to identify where you are in the research process, to talk about the library research help resource, and to lay down in as detailed a manner as you can. I know it's pretty early in this process, but basically to lay down how you plan on using the library research help tool / resource to help you move through the research process. Again, that second paragraph should be dedicated to explaining, laying out how you plan on using the library resource help tool / resource to help move or propel you and your project through the research process. Right? So the next big assignment that we have is the annotated bibliography. One way of answering that question might be, hey, I plan on using the library research help tool to help me with the annotated bibliography. I've done one of those before and the library intimidates me, and I plan on using the guidance that I find in that library research help tool, especially the stuff that focuses on databases, how to access them, how to search them, and which ones are most appropriate for my project. I plan on using those tools to help me move from where I am to where I need to be with my project. I think that kind of an answer would be fine. Again, 2 paragraphs. This is not meant to be a super hard assignment. It's just a way of introducing you to the library, its many resources, the databases, etc., and ways of using them and accessing them, even if you're not on campus, or if you are in town or on campus and simply don't want to go to the library, you can always access those resources, many of those resources too. So anyways, that's what I want you to do for this week's assignment that's meant to replace that visit by a reference librarian. Again, 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph, all you're going to be doing is identifying what your topic is, talking about your project, and any research that you've actually done so far on this particular topic for your project. And in the second paragraph, how are you planning on using the library research help tool / resource on our course homepage to help move you through the research process? Okay, that's it. Thanks. I'm looking forward to reading your posts on your posts for this week. Thank you. Bye.